computer. So anyway, that's the recap on the on my performance or my results in the tournament rather. I ended up losing to Puppypaw, so he managed to win in the end. So he will be going to the castle to play the show match. So again, congrats to him. Now there's some other stuff I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to kind of talk about this one last time, get it over with. Obviously, if you're not aware, what happened last week was my match against Wim, where I have crashed on Golden Heights and I was awarded a loss. So I wanted to, like I said, I gave it a week. I didn't want to be like emotional or didn't want to be unreasonable talking about this, and I was thinking, do I talk about this? Do I not talk about this? Do I leave it? Do I forget about it? So I just wanted to give some closing words, if you will. So, again, I'll be honest, I'll be serious with you guys, 100%. So I am sad that I did not qualify, first of all. I'm not upset, I'm not mad. I'm sad because I wanted to go to Spain, hang out with Marika. We wanted to have like an extended, like go there, have, you know, the experience, have the extended vacation kind of thing and all that. But it is what it is, you know. Did I practice hardcore for it? No, but last week I did play a lot of games on stream and I tried to prepare for it. But sometimes things don't really, you know, work out. I try my best to win. It is what it is. So, do I think that if the death loss didn't happen that I would have qualified? I don't know. Maybe I would have lost the series still. Maybe I would have lost, you know, later on. Who the fuck knows? But there's something I wanted to talk about, which is the whole admin situation and so on and so forth. So, first thing that I wanted to say is I've had issue, and I'll show you guys the example of where the game was at. But I've had an issue with this admin for like 2-3 years. I complained a bunch of times, and he is not currently actively working in AoE 4. He's just doing this event for AoE Red Bull part for AoE 4. And of course, please don't message anyone, don't send hate to anyone. You know, it's all over, right? There's nothing to save or to mold about. You know, let Puppypaw and MarineLord enjoy, you know, what they earned. So, that being said, I've had issues with this admin before, and I have complained about it many times due to some decisions that happened in the past. And you know, I thought about this has happened like 5 to 10 times in the last 2-3 years. And you know, I was told by people, you know, oh, don't make a big deal out of it. You know, it's, you know, don't talk about it. It's his job, and you know, what if he loses his job? Stuff like that. You know, it's not worth it. Yada yada. And then thinking about it over the past week, maybe if I did make a bigger deal out of it, I wouldn't have to deal with the decision that I did have to face in this tournament. So maybe I should have said something, and maybe that's why I'm saying something now, because I don't want to skip on it once more. Another thing is, I was not the only person who has had issues with them, okay? Because I don't want to make this like he's only screwing me over kind of thing. He's not. Other people had problems with him. Other people complained about him. Other players complained to me about him. And when I said, why don't you bring it up with, you know, EGCTV at the time? And they said, well, if they don't listen to you, why would they listen to me when I don't even stream, right? Which is a fair point. So, yeah, there was the whole thing, like, what if it's his job? What if he loses his job? And then over the past week, I thought, I don't fucking care, because I lost thousands of dollars because of his decisions. So it's also my job. It's also affecting me, my income, and my stream. So why wouldn't I talk about it? And the whole time I felt like, over the past 3 years, it's like, oh, don't talk about it. It's like, just kind of move on, whatever. It is what it is, right? And it affected me the whole time. There was plenty of matches that were decided against me, where I lost tournaments, I lost matches because of him. It happened in the finals, and yeah, I never said anything. I never made a big deal out of it. So yeah. So for those that don't know, I'll kind of speak about what happened now. So, with this specific admin, in the past 2-3 years, basically, whenever the game crashed, and you guys know, or maybe don't know, we have had a shit ton of crashes back in the day. I'm talking about 1 or 2 years ago. We've had a lot of crashes in A4. And 99% of these decisions were remakes, right? They were remakes. I have had games personally where you guys all know the meme where my sheep went neutral, where my game literally bugged at the start of the game and it was still considered a valid game. I've had games where I was 200 supply, like 4 relics versus 1, 3 sacred sites captured, I have keep on every sacred site. I'm 200 supply, my opponent is like 100, 110. My opponent crashes, and I had to do a remake. Because you never know, he might come back. That was the quote. That was like ingrained in my mind, right? You never know, he might come back. And I was like, no, I do know he's not coming back. So I was, in the past, remaking these games that I have won, right? And this happened about 5 or 6 times, where I had to remake a game that I have won. Like, I'm not talking I had an advantage. I'm talking like, I fucking won. You know what I mean? Like, double supply kind of won. But, obviously, I've probably had some games where I was ahead slightly by some villagers or army, and I was also told to remake those games, right? That's just how it was, right? And I was upset, but it is what it is. That's what happened to everyone, right? That's kind of the cope I went with, even though I felt at the time that it was unfair because some of those games were very much over. So, going back to today, or last week, on Golden Heights, we had a game, Rus versus Delhi. And I was extremely, extremely, extremely upset. Yeah, there's other examples of other players' remakes. Again, it's not just my remake. There was the Vortex B famous game that I showed a few days ago on my stream that it got remade, which was ridiculous. So a lot of people misunderstood me and they thought that I'm upset that this game got remade, period. There's a little bit more background story to it. So this is the background story that I gave you guys. So basically, whenever the game was, even if one guy was giga ahead, it was like remade. That was just how it went. So this game comes, it's Golden Heights, it's Rus versus Delhi, and I was behind. Yes, 100%, I was behind. Did I lose the game? No, I did not. Was the game over 100%? Nope. I crashed, and this is what happened. I crashed. Immediately, I opened the crash report logs on my computer. I sent the warning logs from AOE4 immediately that my game did crash. I didn't Alt F4, as you can see those things. I send it, and, you know, I get up and I'm telling Marika, I just fucking crashed. You know? And she's like, what do you think they're gonna do? And I'm like, well, it's probably a remake. Because we've always had remakes. So, I go back to the computer. Wham is asking for a win immediately, saying that he was so far ahead, it would be insane if it was a remake, and there's no chance he loses that. He wins 100% of the time. Which 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later, turned into 90% of the time. And I didn't write anything at that point. Because to me, I didn't even consider the fact that this admin will decide a loss for me. Because it has not happened. Ever. Right? So then the admin says, by the way, like few minutes has passed. Like I don't know if he even had the time to ×8 speed to the point of crash. I don't even think he could have loaded up the replay ×8. He comes and says, you're getting a loss. Wham had a significant advantage. And I go, what? And he says, yeah. And I said, where? And he says he was ahead on supply, ahead on the army. He had sacred sites and something else. And in the moment, this is happening in like span of 3 minutes. And I'm like, I'm just confused because I'm like, I was killing the villagers for my opponent. Like, what are we, how is this a loss? Like the first thing I'm thinking of is, how is this a loss? But the previous decisions you made against me, you made me remake. So I write that. I said, this is a joke. Like, you gave me remakes when I was infinitely far ahead, and now you're giving me a loss? That's insane. Mind you, I checked later, after I lost the series, I checked the replay. He had no sacred sites. I was ahead on economy, and I was ahead on villagers, which he did not mention at all. Wham did have an arm advantage. He did have fishing. And he did have map control. He had no sacred sites. No sacred sites were being captured at that point. So anyway, I'm pissed off, and he says, yeah, I might have made some mistakes in the past, but I want to start correcting them. And I say, this is the point you want to start correcting your mistakes. I literally said, you fucked me over in the past many times. And now is the time that you're going to correct your mistakes to start giving out losses and wins? I was like, are you serious right now? And he's like, yeah, I apologize for previous mistakes, but it's a loss. And the remake itself isn't the problem. It's the beforehand. I was fuming. Like right now, I am upset. I was fuming how mad I was. And the fact that he said, yeah, I made mistakes in the past. Just like, just like, you know, it is what it is. Even though, you know, I fucked you over in the finals before, right? So I'm fuming. And from this point on, I'll give you guys an example. Next game, we played Dry Arabia versus Byzantine. Byzantine is very good against Malian. I went wrong units. I went Limitane against Malian, which there's no reason to. You go Horseman. I was just so out of it because I was so pissed. So anyway, would I have qualified if this didn't happen? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would have lost to Puppy right here, right? I don't know. What upsets me is the fact that the inconsistency in these decisions. And this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted to touch upon. By the way, let me show you the game in hand. This was the game in hand. I have a screenshot right here. 58 supply. This is the moment of the crash because I put this farm, and then after I put the farm, I crashed like 2 seconds later. If wait, what the hell happened? Okay, can you guys see me? My thing bugged over here. So if you look at the mini map, I don't know if you guys can see, sacred sites are not captured at all. There's no prelates or scholars nearby. He did not start capturing them. What he saw was the end of the game, where Wayne was capturing when I was long gone, because it takes about 1 minute and a bit for you to actually DC out of the game. So let's look at the game. This is the game in question. 10 army versus 33. He's definitely had an army. Definitely has map control, for sure. I've killed 2 villagers. It's 48 versus 44 villagers. I am ahead. And I have 8 villagers on the deer that you guys can't see. I'm about to run out of berries. I have no sheep. All that is true, and a lot of people pointed that out. 100%, all that is true. I was almost out of food. I could have aged up because I have stopped making units, as you can see, to age up. Because I still have Kremlin. I have gremlins that if I age up to castle, they would be a lot stronger. Am I in an advantageous position? Not at all. I pick Wham's position, the one that is an advantage. Do I think I was 100% dead? No, I don't. I have come back. If you watch my stream or my YouTube videos, whatever, I have come back from way worse games. Way worse games. So, if the rulings in the past have been, if you crash and the opponent has a slight advantage, it's a loss, I would have zero problems with this. Zero, right? But the fact of the past and now, I am fuming. Again, I give advantage to Wham in this situation. Am I dead? No, not at all. That is insane to say that this is a situation where it's 100% loss. Now, there's a thing as well where if we did remake, Wham did a strategy where he pulled 5 villagers, and I mentioned this last time I talked about this, so it would be unfair to him. So, neither is good. Realistically, it's Relic's fault because there's no recover from replay or reconnect to the game, right? But to say that this is a loss is insane. Now let me show you another game, which funnily enough happened just 2 rounds later against Lucifron. Let me show you. Look at this game. This happened a few days ago. This is called Holy Island game. If you look, he has all the water. He killed my water economy completely, right? Supply, 59 versus 108. Workers, 56 versus 69. Army, 6 versus 41. There is not one thing that I'm ahead in. Not one. This game, I am way far behind compared to the other one. Right? Wait, like, this one, I'm fucking dead. Spoilers, I won this game. Right? Now, if I were to crash, this would be an even more obvious decision to be like, well, there's no way you come back from this one. But I did come back, and I did win this game. So how can you tell me, did this, I can come back on this with him having more ships, fishing ships, more eco, more everything. But this is an unwinnable position and it's a loss? So, if I crashed in this game, I would also be given a loss, right? Now, does that mean I would win the Wham game 100%? Of course not. My point is that I had a chance to win. And I'm not saying 1% chance, right? I'm saying 20, 30% chance to win that game, or to prolong the game, aka not die immediately, to the point where I can slowly start building up a comeback. Because in this game I was so far behind, but I started raiding, I started doing stuff, and I won. Now, in the perfect world, right, this game and this game, my opponents should have won 100%. But players are not perfect, we're all human beings, and I'm not the best player for micro. I'm not the best player for macro. I'm not best player for decision making either. I'm not the best player for multitasking. But I am the best player in defending and comebacks. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that. In all AoE 4. So, again, if the ruling in the past has been games like these are a win for your opponent, thumbs up. But the fact of what happened in the past is what sent me Malding. Okay? Malding. So again, I want to re-emphasize, because a lot of people are like, oh, Beasty said he deserved the win, or he deserved the remake. Not what I'm saying. I am saying, Wham was ahead. I think I could have won this game. I don't think this game was that bad as everyone's saying, like, oh, it's over. I think I could have won it. And I think the game, like I just showed you on Holy Island, was way worse, and I won that too. Against a player who, and I don't mean this as a disrespect to Wham, against a player who has achieved a lot more and like a lot more higher top places in the tournaments. So I don't see, let's say Wem is equal skill to Lucifron, or maybe slightly higher, slightly lower. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to do that against him. Now, what is the point of this? First thing, before I continue, I wanna say that I was told to mention this by a few people, that this was not some idiots messaged Choom, which is the current admin for EGCTV. Choom was not the admin of this. Doesn't matter who the admin was. And it's not EGCTV's fault because it's Red Bull's admin. So there you go. A lot of people wanted me to say this to make sure they're okay. And I don't know why MarineLord and Donardi are writing, I would give this win to Wem too, when I'm literally explaining what the fucking point is of this whole thing. It's not about this one game. So don't be literally a guy from Reddit that just repeats and says the same dumb thing over and over. Obviously the main problem is there's no reconnect and stuff. Now, all I wanted is for there to be consistency in the decision making in the tournaments. If you look, I'm gonna open a rule book. There is no ruling of what's the procedure. In the event of game crash or desynchronization, the administration will review the situation and determine the appropriate course of action, which may include restarting the game or declaring a winner. Basically what this, I'm not showing it. Basically what this translates to, whatever the admin feels like on that day, that's going to be the decision. So, and again, I don't mean this in a bad way, but how can a Gold League admin decide what advantage is, what a win is, what a remake is? They can't. And I will say this again. If in the past tournaments, in the past decisions, whenever the opponent had an advantage of 5 villagers, 10 villagers, 10 army, if the decision was, that's a win for that player. So if player B had an advantage, player A crashed, they said, that's a win for player B, right? You crashed, he had an advantage. Thumbs up. I agree with that. I agree with that, right? It is what it is. If that was every decision, if the decisions in the past were made like that, I have no issue with that. No issue whatsoever. If they said, in the moment of crash, unless there was 100% win rate, it's always a remake, and they stuck with that, I have no issues with that. That's okay. If they said, hey, we're gonna consult someone, a top player, and they're gonna tell us who has the advantage, and we will decide if the advantage is big enough, that's okay. That's your rule. That's a tournament rule. And if that's what goes for everyone, I am fine with that. And in that case, if they looked at that game and they said, hey, he had an advantage here, I think you can win, but he has the advantage, we're gonna give you a loss, no problem. My problem is, when I was in his position with way more advantage, I was told to remake. And that is what I have a problem with. That is the mold I have. So, that being said, as you guys know, Marika and I are organizing tournaments. Marika is organizing, I'm helping her. We're already working on something with the players. We were talking earlier in the Discord about finding some proper guidelines for our tournaments. For crashes, for stuff like that. If a player that has an advantage will be given a win, what does advantage mean? Does that mean higher income, how many villagers, at what point in the game, and so on and so forth? And again, this decision in this tournament had nothing to do with EGCTV, the one regarding Red Bull. So we're trying to get some kind of ruling where we will be or Marika will be deciding if it's going to be a remake or it's going to be a win. And what she mentioned to me, we might have a play, like a top 20, 30 player council that is online at the moment of the crash, that are not friends with any of the players playing, that can say, they can just vote. I think a remake, I think a win, I think a remake, whatever, and that's it. But there must be some kind of structure to this. You cannot just have an admin that's gold that says, yeah, let's remake this one. And then the next day he's like, no, he had a villager more, that's a win for you. That cannot be a thing, right? That cannot be a thing. You cannot go on your personal how you woke up in the morning and fucking over players, okay? Another thing that I forgot to mention is I am not 100% sure about this, okay? So I am speculating here. We haven't played on EGC Golden Heights. That's the map I crashed on, Golden Heights. We haven't played on EGC Golden Heights version, or at least I haven't, for a while. The reason for that is, there is a Golden Heights in-game. But in this tournament, we were told to play EGC Golden Heights. And you guys know, I haven't had a crash on stream in a while. And I had crashed on that map. So after I crashed, I was told in the next series that we should play on normal Golden Heights, just in case. So there's that too. So all I want, like I said, is for there to be a clear rules on what the fuck is happening if a player crashes, and be consistent with it. That's all. If I was getting the fucking wins before, you know, in case I was ahead, and now I crash and I'm like, fuck. Well, he was ahead. He gets the win. It is what it is, brother. We fucking move on, you know? Crashes happen. So that's kind of the part that fucking sucks. And, yeah. Also, again, having someone decide what advantage is or not that doesn't play the game and is not even in the community is a whole other thing that's like, you know, a full topic for a conversation. So yeah, this whole tournament for me was just, yeah. So that's kind of, yeah. One last thing I wanted to say is, it's very, I don't even know what word to use, but you have no idea how many